I'd just like to take the opportunity to welcome a good colleague of mine and a good friend. And he has to be good to me because my parents live in his riding. So we talk about that quite a bit. Anyways, this is the minister's going to talk about something that's been in the making for quite a while. And I know we had some challenges especially last year. And I'm delighted that Minister Duga and the ministry folks recognize that we have to make some changes. And at this time, I would like to mention a little bit more specific. Welcome, Steve.
So, good morning, everyone. I'm really thrilled to be here standing alongside my very good friend and colleague, Lou Rinaldi. Lou is 100% right. I'd be good to him regardless because he is a good friend. He's an old friend. We've known each other for a long time. But they always say that all politics is local, and Lou has a ton of family that lives in my community, and they keep me on my toes as they should as their particular MPP. And I'm really happy to be here today in this wonderful community, in this great riding. I think all of you know, but it bears repeating, that Lou has served in an exemplary fashion representing this community in Queen's Park, certainly since June, but also in his capacity as the MPP previously. Now, Lou and I have only had the opportunity to serve alongside each other in caucus since June because I was elected in 2012, but I know that he is a consistent and successful advocate and champion for this community. I know that he'll continue to work hard. And specifically with regard to the topic that I'm here today to talk about, Lou and I have had a number of conversations since I was given the opportunity to take on the role of being Ontario's Minister of Transportation. I've heard loud and clear from Lou and from a number of our other caucus colleagues from Northern Ontario, from right across Southern Ontario, about the need for making sure that we can move forward in a very positive way. And I think today we have some good news to announce for this community, but also good news to announce for the province of Ontario as we all prepare for the upcoming winter season. So, as I was going to say, every year winter weather arrives before we know it, and sometimes, frankly, before we're ready to even think about it. We can feel it in the air today. It's already a little cooler, a little crisper than it was not that many days ago. That's why I'm really happy to be here today to remind all drivers that it's important to get ready now for challenging winter driving conditions. The Government of Ontario and its service providers are doing their part to prepare for winter weather and have even started operations in certain areas of the north of our province. Our winter maintenance standards are among the highest in North America, and we're always looking to improve our winter maintenance program. So this winter, the province is working with its contractors to deploy 50 additional pieces of winter maintenance equipment in Southern Ontario to help clear most freeway ramps and shoulders more quickly. And here, closer to home for people like Lou and others who live in this community, drivers will notice a significantly improved level of service between Durham Region and Northumberland County. Starting this winter, we will be changing our standard for the Highway 401 ramps from a Class 3 to a Class 2. This means that these ramps will be cleared 50% faster, within 2.2 hours instead of 3.3 hours. In addition, instead of waiting for the end of a storm, the Highway 401 shoulders west of Coburg will now be cleared regularly during the storm. As a result of all of these improvements, drivers should see seamless service for the entire 6-lane section of Highway 401 from Coburg into Durham Region. This, of course, is in addition to the 55 new pieces of winter maintenance equipment deployed last year, predominantly in Northern Ontario. We are working closely with our contractors to continue to improve winter maintenance this year and adding 20 inspectors to provide on-the-ground oversight during winter storms. These inspectors will oversee the responsibilities of the contractors to ensure contractual obligations are met, including response time, plowing and spreading operations, plow and spreading circuit times, and overall operations of their winter maintenance responsibilities. But plowing and spreading sand or salt is only part of keeping our roads safe during winter weather. Drivers also play a very important role by preparing for winter weather, planning their travel carefully, and most importantly, driving safely. Before winter sets in, I strongly urge everyone to make sure that your vehicle is ready for winter conditions. Keep a winter survival kit in your vehicle. When you're planning a trip, choose your route ahead of time. Check road and weather conditions before you leave. Information about road conditions and closures is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by calling 511 or visiting ontario.ca/511. And when you're on the road this winter, adjust your driving to current conditions. Slow down and stay in control. For more winter driving tips, you can watch our videos on safe winter driving and read our winter driving brochure, which is available online at ontario.ca/winterdriving. I ask all Ontario drivers to join us in keeping our roads safe this winter. And I also want to take a very quick moment. We are surrounded here today by a number of individuals who work for the Ministry of Transportation out here in the region. I want to say thank you to all of you for the tremendous job that you do day in, day out. We're also joined, of course, by representatives from the Ontario Provincial Police, a very important component of making sure that Ontario's roads remain amongst the safest in North America. And we're here today at a site that's operated by Carillion, one of our partners, one of our contractors. I want to thank you for hosting us here today at this particular site. And I look forward to continuing to work with the OPP, with our contractors, with all of our road safety partners, and with my colleagues like Lou Rinaldi to make sure that this upcoming winter season, that we all have the experience that we're looking for. Thanks very much. So what I was referencing in my remarks was some of the technical changes that have been made with respect to the ramps and the shoulders. But we are standing in what I believe is known as the Kingston West area, and as I was talking to one of the gentlemen here before we began our remarks today, specifically in terms of new pieces of equipment for the entire Kingston West area, we're looking at one new tow plow and two new combo units. Between both of those additional pieces of machinery for this particular area, we should see a significant improvement with respect to the ramps and the shoulders. That's over and above the 20 additional inspectors that will be added to the complement that exists around the province that will help in terms of on-the-ground monitoring the situation to make sure that we are responding and that our contractors are working with us and fulfilling their contractual obligations.
And the Kingston area runs roughly from where to where, please?
So I'm going to ask someone who has that technical expertise to give you the exact parameters because I don't want to misinform you on that.
Okay, so what were some of the things you were hearing last year that occurred that prompted this reaction this year?
So I've had the privilege of serving as the Minister of Transportation for about three months or so, but obviously last year right across the province of Ontario was a very difficult winter. There were extremely harsh weather conditions from the north to the south to my own community on the edge of Toronto, and I think we experienced, because of the harsh conditions and because of the system that was in place, we got the very strong sense and a clear understanding from communities and also from our contractor partners that we needed to bring more resources to bear. It's why we've been able to roll out, as I mentioned, the 55 additional pieces of equipment last year, mostly in Northern Ontario, the 50 new pieces of equipment for Southern Ontario, and the 20 new additional inspectors.
So I guess you must have been listening when somebody said that winters were going to get worse.
Well, look, we always want to make sure, because one of my primary responsibilities is to ensure that Ontario's roads remain amongst the safest in North America, and we're very successful in terms of maintaining that kind of track record. It's always important for us to listen to individuals like Lou Rinaldi, who represents this community in such a fantastic way, to hear directly from them, from communities, and from our contractor partners about how we can always enhance and give people that sense of safety on the roads.
Are you hearing that there's going to be worse weather this year?
I think it's important to be ready regardless of what the weather conditions will be.
Mr. Minister, I think the important thing in your announcement today here is that you're going to have people that are going to be looking at what the contractors are doing. Some of the contractors in Northern Ontario got fined this year. Carillon was one of the names in there that got fined. We don't know exactly how much. Do we trust them for this winter?
So the Ministry of Transportation has a long track record of working very, very well with all of our partners across the industry, including those who have contractual responsibilities to make sure that our roads and highways remain safe and clear of snow. And I have a lot of faith, given that we're bringing additional significant resources to bear this year, and given that ongoing partnership between the ministry and our contractor partners is something that we constantly work on. I have a lot of faith and confidence that we'll have a much better result this year.
So now these people, what are they going to be doing? Looking if they are plowing plowing or putting enough salt because there's too much ice, or if they're fast enough?
So that's among some of the responsibilities the inspectors will have, and I think it's really important to emphasize the inspectors will be on the ground, being able to monitor that in person, which will give them a real strong sense of what's actually taking place, and also being in a position to work with the contractors to make sure they are fulfilling their contractual obligations.
And their contracts have not changed? It's still the same money that we're not paying them more for more equipment?
We are paying for the additional equipment, but the contracts remain similar. Thank you.
Yeah, we have the same standards. It's the same standards on 401. It's all the Class 1 freeway. It was the ramps that were previously Class 3 in all areas. So that's where the minister today has announced that we're now going to go to Class 2, which is a 50% improvement on the ramps. Right. Instead of a 3.3-hour circuit time, we now have a 2.2. And then that last announcement was about the additional unit in the 6-lane section. And as we get further and further east with 6-laning of the highway, you see that additional piece of equipment will be brought in from the shoe race.
But do you think that you guys need a little more help clearing in this middle lane between the two corridors?
We're working actually with the contractor right now to looking at Carillion's looking at bringing in another circuit as well. We're still in the early stages of those discussions. We're hoping to have something out with another circuit on the 401 itself. So, but today's announcement was for the ramps and was for the consistency of the Durham boundary with the tow plow. So I think overall this is going to be a much, this winter will be much improved. Looking forward to working with our contractor to delivering what we promised.
So when I reference the pieces of equipment that are being added to the complement here in this region, that does cover the entire area. The technical change that I referenced a second ago deals with the piece, I guess, to the west of here, as we talked about, and that was a decision that was arrived at based on the analysis that MTO did, working closely with the contractor. We will continue to monitor it throughout this winter. We'll continue to work. Having those inspectors will help give us that sense of what of the fact that what's supposed to take place in terms of ensuring safety on our roads will actually take place.
If I may direct one to Mr. Rinaldi.
Of course,
Lou, you're the
absolutely.
MP, you know the area, you know the corridor between here and Coburg, where in Coburg it could be sunny, could be fine. You get down through here and you get the snow squall coming through very quickly. So are you confident that the changes being made are going to be a benefit to this riding?
Look, I think it's going to be a vast improvement. I mean, I'm not an expert on the issue, but the reality is what's important, there's more equipment on the ground. Although we define, Coburg, I mean, that's where sort of the Durham, Northumberland boundaries start and begin. I think one of the things I was reassured by Minister and staff is that as we move from Durham to Northumberland, we're not going to see a huge change in road conditions, because that was a huge safety hazard. So that if we can alleviate that piece, and I think we're doing that, and I think the other key piece, they don't have to depend, the ministry doesn't have to depend on people calling, they're going to have people on the ground, as the minister mentioned a minute ago, to make sure that, and if we have to go beyond, then we'll respond accordingly.
Are we telling the drivers that they had nothing to do with it last winter with all these pileups between Napanee and here?
The drivers had nothing to do with it?
Yeah.
Well, we had the road conditions weren't the best. And when road conditions are not the best, we have more accidents, and that's what we're trying to prevent.
Minister, can you explain through your investigation, through the work with the MTO in the county of Northumberland, why there seemed to be that significant line right at the Durham-Northumberland border, where as soon as you cross it seemed that the 401 was completely plowed cleared. As soon as you came into Northumberland County, it seemed, it seemed to be a lot worse as soon as you cross that border coming in.
I think that's actually one of those circumstances that helped inform the decision to make the changes this year, to add the additional pieces of equipment to bring to bear some of those additional resources. It's why we're moving in the direction we are. And to the point of the question that was asked a second ago as well, the other thing we have to remember is the MTO staff are phenomenal. I'm proud to work closely with them. We're going to have the additional inspectors on the ground. But in communities like Northumberland, Quinte West, we also have outstanding champions and advocates. And I will tell you, because I've known Lou Rinaldi for a long time, if there's an issue that's taking place in this riding, in order to represent his community, Lou will make sure that I hear about it loud and clear, and we'll do our best to respond accordingly.
I think this announcement, you're responding to people that last winter were stuck in these pilots for hours, right? So are we telling them that it wasn't all their fault, or it wasn't the truck drivers' fault if these accidents occurred? The ministry has taken a part of the blame?
So in my remarks from the podium, I closed up by making sure that everyone understood very clearly this is an important message. We're here here today with some of our road safety partners. The OPP is here, and it's really important for drivers to plan accordingly, to prepare for weather conditions, to slow down, to stay in control, and to drive according to those weather conditions. You can access tons of information via our website by calling 511, learning more about your route ahead, planning your route ahead. So it is a shared responsibility, but I wanted to make sure, our government wanted to make sure that the Ministry of Transportation, working closely with our contractors and our local caucus colleagues, was responding to the conditions, responding to the outcomes, and producing amongst the safest roads in North America, and that's one of my primary responsibilities.
Lewis, is the line that has been a big problem going from Durham into Northumberland just been shifted to Coburn?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we're trying to make the 401 from a road safety standpoint as seamlessly as we can. I think with the additional equipment, as the minister just indicated, we are going to erase that imaginary line. At least we're hoping to. But we also have to understand, and I mean, I think we've all lived in Canada and Ontario long enough, at least I've been in Canada for some 50 years, and, you know, conditions vary. And, you know, we can respond with whatever, but the reality is that we wake up in the morning, sometimes we have no idea what I find on the road, never mind the 401, but even on side roads. So I think we've seen last year, there was an exceptional winter that frankly, we weren't used to for 3 years. And I think government has heard, minister has heard, that we needed to do something. I think we're responding.
Mr. DeLuca, are these machinery? Is this machinery already on the? Is it ready to go?
So there are pieces of machinery. I referenced the 55 that were rolled out, I believe, in February mostly for Northern Ontario. The pieces of machinery that are being added to Southern Ontario will be in place for the beginning of the season.
Terrific.
What is that additional cost for the additional?
$8 million is the cost attached to all of the additional resources that we're bringing to bear. Thank you.